Nutrition is not a part of school curriculum at all, which I hope changes now.
She's like, I have to put orange juice, and I'm like, what are you saying?
Oh, really?
You start with a vegetable, and they tend to eat more food as compared to a sweeter fruit. My daughter hates avocado.
Oh, she doesn't like
She doesn't
it?
like it.
Once she got a little used to the solid foods, then I did start baby-led weaning.
The most important thing I think is also introducing variety of foods to your kids.
Force feeding never works in the long term. या तो वो spoon लेके aeroplane उड़ता उड़ता खा लो.
When I pick her up from school, I'm like, you know, Isna, I did this today. Or today I was very happy. And then she's like, you know, Mama, this happened. So like that reverse psychology is working for now.
Exactly. The more you sit and eat with the child as a parent, that also inculcates more independent eating in children.
So at least she sees कि मैं same खाना खा रही हूँ. Child loves food, so they love restaurants as well, and then they won't create the same. खाना तो इतनी जल्दी नहीं खाती, but ice cream तो.
That kid ate a grape. Something happened and it choked. It was such a sudden reaction that within a few minutes she actually passed away.
Oh my God. Hey Neha, so I think it's been really long since we shot a podcast, but
Yes.
I'm glad that we're doing it after a long time, and I think today's topic is going to be very touchy for a few people because it's the main concern जो सारी moms and parents face करते हैं कि बच्चा खाना नहीं खा रहा है.
Exactly, yes.
Right? So we're going to be talking about that today.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Modern Sakhi podcast. We are your hosts Neha and Sunena, and today's topic is baby-led weaning and holistic nutrition and health in children. So like Sunena said कि ये topic बहुत ही सबसे पहला जो topic होता है कि मेरा बच्चा कुछ नहीं खाता या मेरा बच्चा बहुत picky है. So these are the main concerns that most parents have, and today we are going to talk about what we did, what approaches we took, and what helped us, what did not help us, and everything around that.
Yes. So let's get started. Like I'll ask you first.
Okay.
What was your approach when you had your firstborn, like towards food? Did you go the traditional way or was it baby-led weaning?
It was both in a way, but
Okay.
I definitely did practice baby-led weaning because उस time मैं research कर रही थी and I read a lot about the benefits of baby-led weaning. Plus for us it was more for the practical reasons because it was just me and my husband, and a lot of times I would be in the kitchen working or doing something, तो मैं उसको कुछ दे देती थी, finger foods that she would eat. And that's how the whole baby-led weaning process started. मुझे तो पहले पता भी नहीं था कि it's actually defined as baby-led weaning. But of course, the first food that I ever gave her, apart from breast milk, when she turned 6 months, was I think I just fed her like a mashed banana with a spoon. But once she got a little used to the solid foods, then I did start baby-led weaning.
Okay.
What about you?
Same, like, it's your first child, तो आप बहुत research करते हैं. And I'm like, oh, baby-led weaning, oh, that's a new trend, ये तो करना ही पड़ेगा. None of like the family members knew about it. They're like, ये क्या होता है? हम तो खिचड़ी बनाते थे या rice. I remember my mom-in-law telling me कुछ rice में मिला के वो खिलाते थे. And she's like, बहुत अच्छे से बच्चे खा जाते थे. She's like, I have to put orange juice. And I'm like, what are you saying?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that time she's like, हम चावल को पूरा पीसते थे. And उसमें I think she used to put like 2 tablespoons of orange juice and she used to give the kids.
For the flavor.
And I think वो आता था ना Cerelac या कुछ उसमें mix करके. That time they didn't know, right? कि मतलब कितना sugar. तब तो honey भी खिलाते थे. Right? So they had no idea. But I'm glad that they were open to, me like choosing a different method.
Yeah.
So we started off with sweet potato and avocados because when I was researching, they said कि if you start with a vegetable and not a fruit because fruit is sweeter, so then they tend to eat more food as compared to a sweeter fruit.
Right.
So that's why I started off with that. But to be very honest, my daughter hates avocado.
Oh, she doesn't like
She doesn't
it?
like it.
I think, of course, the taste buds change and develop over time.
No, I think also because she's never seen me eating. I don't like avocados that much. I like it as a guac, but
not plain.
Not plain. I can't eat it. Okay. So I think वही होता है कि she's never seen us and I did not introduce a lot to her. I started it, but then I didn't keep going back to it.
Okay.
Right? So
that is a big thing that once you start something, because for them breast milk के अलावा उन्होंने कुछ life में taste या formula के अलावा कुछ life में taste नहीं किया होता है. So when you keep on reintroducing again and again, that's when they get a hang of it. I remember with Amira, my firstborn, I started giving her eggs, I think around just 6-7 months के बीच में, because I was told that the earlier you introduce these foods, तो allergy का वो chances risk कम हो जाते हैं, because egg allergy is a big thing. So I offered her like I think a boiled egg or something, and she did not eat it. She hated it. So I was like a little worried, because I thought ki, egg is a healthy food, and what if she's allergic or whatever. But over time, when I kept on introducing, बीच में मैंने छोड़ दिया था, and then again a few months later I tried, and now she loves it. So I think वही होता है कि आप बार बार अगर introduce करो, sometimes the kids will pick it up. Sometimes, of course, if they don't feel, if the palate is not developed for that kind of food, they will not like it. Like you said, you don't like plain avocados. So it's like a hit or miss, I feel.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, with baby-led weaning, like all my friends who continued to do it, touch wood, their kids really eat well. Like, it is something that, I think every child should be like, like taught in a way, like, because it helps, with the independence of eating, how much you want to eat. They know their hunger cues, when they want to stop. But with us, वही होता है ना, Indian family में होते हो आप, अच्छा इतना से खाया आप, कम नहीं, मतलब बहुत कम है, and then you start feeding, और खा लो, and then the whole focus is on the baby, and the baby has that all that pressure कि सब मुझे देख रहे हैं. So that mistake also I did. Like, nobody was eating with her. It was like all of us are just looking at her eating. So I think that was another mistake that I did. So that's why it did not work with us.
Yeah, and I also feel that when you live with more people in the house, it's a little hard to practice, because everyone has their own ways, and then, like you said, the focus was all on the child. In my case, I introduced like egg and fruits and sweet potato also I did. So धीरे धीरे करके she picked it up, and I just feel like when you eat with the child, that's another point.
Yes.
When they see, because they observe everything, even when they are just 6 months old, their observation is so strong. Somewhere in their subconscious, maybe they register it. So the more you sit and eat with the child as a parent or as a family, I think that also inculcates more independent eating in children.
Yeah, so I think that was another mistake that that I made, because everybody in the morning would rush for the work, and फिर मुझे होता था कि पहले मैं खिला दूँ, उसके बाद मैं अपना खाऊंगी, that happens. I think, and that happens with most parents, because they're like, अच्छा पहले बच्चे ने खाए, then you're like satisfied कि अब मैं आराम से खा सकती हूँ. But I think that's not the correct way to go. It should always be, and now I've learned the hard way, because my daughter is not a very good eater. So now, especially on like weekends when she's with me, so I make sure that she's eating lunch with me, and like, she's looking at me that I'm eating, and then whatever we're talking or we're reading a book and or some activity we're doing together while eating, so at least she sees कि मैं same खाना खा रही हूँ या जो भी. उस वक्त क्या होता था कि बस every time क्या खा रही, खिचड़ी, क्योंकि खिचड़ी में सब कुछ mix कर दिया, सारे vegetables को प्यूरी करके.
वो एक और चीज है कि मैंने कभी भी, like, of course when she was 6 months old, it was a lot of mashed food,
right,
but I never gave her any purees. So I never pureed any fruits, vegetables or anything. I mashed it, of course, made sure it's very semi-solid, and made sure it's not like the bite size is correct, because that's another thing. A lot of parents fear कि choke हो जाएगा बच्चा, which is a very common concern that parents have because of which they don't introduce baby-led weaning.
Yeah.
But a lot of studies have shown that as long as the size is correct, it's okay for the child to explore. Because यार जब वो teething शुरू होता है, हर चीज मुंह में डाल के चबाते हैं, so they have that natural tendency of picking up things, and that is another point. Sorry, I'm like jumping from one point to the other, but that also helps with their grasp.
Yes.
The principle,
the fine motor,
the
fine motor skills.
Yeah, कुछ तो एक है.
एक term है, you're right. Pincer grasp?
Princep or something like that. We'll put the exact name of it here on the screen. But मैंने वो भी सोचा था कि जब मैं थोड़ा बीच में ज़्यादा खिलाने लगी थी, I noticed she did not pick up her food. So then I wanted those skills to develop at a young age. And that also helps in holding the spoon correctly.
Yes.
Because if they don't know how to use that grasp, ये जो उंगलियों का होता है, then it's hard for them even as they grow up. So those small things are very helpful, I feel.
Correct, absolutely. And I think one should like continue doing what they're doing. Like with me, I'm not a very good cook. I don't like to cook that much. तो फिर वो in the end यही होता है 2-3 चीजें जो आपको अच्छे से आती है, you just keep cooking that. So the most important thing I think is also like introducing variety of foods to your kids. It should not be just limited to what you like or dislike, you know. Even if you don't like, जैसे मेरे case में I did not like avocados, I should have continued giving that. So that's like one mistake that most parents make, and then eventually they give up. So try to give whatever you're eating, whatever you think would be good for the kid. I think, you know, that works with baby-led weaning. The other thing that with baby-led weaning is many people think that, you know, their kid is ready to eat at 6 months, but sometimes your kid might not be, you know, interested in eating at that age, and which is okay, but we should not be like forcing the kid to like eat.
Definitely.
Like with mine, she started at 5.5 because she was like looking at us and she would want to pick up whatever we're eating, so we started like at 5.5. But I know a friend jiska beta 7.5 months baby, he would not be interested. And she would like really concerned ki fir main kya karu, but that's okay because still 12 months any which way your breast milk or formula is more important than solids. Of course introducing solids is important, but one should not like fret and worry about it.
And force feeding, chahe aap haath se khilao ya baby led weaning karo, I think force feeding never works in the long term. Because when I started breastfeeding also, I had done a lot of research on that, and they say that, you know, babies are naturally born, they have this innate the ability to control their hunger. So their hunger cues, they know exactly. And that's why I followed a very strategic pattern of even feeding her. I did not just feed her like multiple times, short feedings, because I wanted her to learn कि हर 2 घंटे में या 3 घंटे में, depending on the age, I'll feed her. And that's when she actually had a good amount of milk also.
Correct.
So since that time, I think kids learn how to control their hunger. So when you introduce solids and if you're constantly force feeding them, then they are going to lose that natural instinct of understanding their body's cues of telling them कि अभी मुझे भूख लगी है तो खाना चाहिए. And that affects when they grow up as adults or even as younger or older children, because then they are constantly eating. They don't know when to stop. They don't know कि अभी भूख लगी है नहीं लगी है. They are just like mindlessly
snacking them.
Yeah, mindlessly snacking, which is a very big problem in today's time. So giving them that opportunity to just understand कि अभी भूख लगी है और अभी खाना हो गया तो अभी 2 घंटे बाद ही मिलेगा. Just having that भूख लगने का sensation, you know. That's also a very important thing.
Yeah, and I think because of that, like initially, if the ears are not that strong enough with like, or like not healthy enough with food, then when the child goes to school, you're always worried कि अरे यार, you know, tiffin भरा हुआ आ रहा है, they didn't finish the tiffin like you were mentioning.
Yeah, so a lot of parents, because both my kids are now in school and daycare में थे तब तो यार teachers थोड़ा बहुत help कर देते हैं खाने में. Because they're much younger, obviously. But when they go to school, it's a totally different environment. The teachers don't have so much time, or they don't even have that many teachers or help around to pay attention to every child. And because the child brings their own lunch from home, they have to eat with all the other children, and there's no like specific monitoring.
Correct.
So a lot of kids don't eat because they are not used to eating by themselves.
So, or not being monitored, or not being like told again and again, khao jaise main karti hu abhi bhi hoga.
I just feel ki as long as the child is healthy and playing and everything, every child has a different appetite, right? Like you yourself said that you were a very picky eater and you didn't eat much growing up, and eventually it changed when you grew up.
Yes. So yeah, I hope it changes, but yes, parents have to be more, you know, like strong in this case, because sometimes, like I remember when I went to my mom's place and I told her that, you know, I'm doing baby-led weaning, whatever. So she's like, हाँ ठीक है, and then उन्होंने हेल्प तो करा करने में, but then when she realized कितना मेस हो रहा है, कितना वेस्टेज हो रहा है, then she's like, कुछ नहीं होगा, खिचड़ी बनेगी या मैश करके मैं खिलाऊंगी. Because that's also that happens with many parents. They're just like, oh, it's getting messy, another काम बढ़ गया. And I agree, people who don't have help, मतलब it is quite a bit like baby-led weaning के लिए पूरा सब कुछ prepare करना, as compared to when you're just giving खिचड़ी जिसमें सब कुछ चला गया एक बार में. But khichdi versus like giving variety of different foods and making them feel the texture and like the size, how it tastes like, it's totally different as compared to khichdi. So
and I also feel that agar nutrition ki baat kare to we can still give them like a few pieces of, let's say, steamed any kind of vegetable. It hardly takes any time, or like a mix of different things.
Yeah, like even if you're giving khichdi, you can give like steamed broccoli साथ में ताकि दोनों भी हो जाए.
And as the child grows beyond 1 year of age, they can even pick up the spoon even before that. I'm sure they can do it. Like pick up the spoon and eat the khichdi by themselves.
Yeah.
So baby-led weaning starts with finger foods, but then it goes on to like picking up the spoon or fork also. I've seen like Asian kids eating with chopsticks.
Chopsticks, yes.
Which is like, मेरे को इतने साल लग गए सीखने में. But it's just that maybe when the parents introduce it at an early age, they'll pick it up.
Yeah. And like I have a friend jiska like touch with the kid when he's out in the restaurant also, like he's eating whatever we're eating. It's not like कि मतलब घर से बच्चे के लिए खाना जा रहा है या कुछ भी. Because with us like अभी भी ऐसा होता है कि when we're going out, we still thinking, okay, what should we take for her, or either order something which she will eat, like maybe if you go into a Chinese restaurant, it's like, okay, chicken and rice, because I know that will be the easiest for her to eat. But I think अगर आप पहले से introduce करते हो हर चीज, तो then even if you're going out in restaurants, it's much easier for you.
Yeah,
because the child loves food, so they love restaurants as well, and then they won't create the scene of like getting out of the table and like.
Yeah. And until 1 year तो थोड़ा बहुत हाँ हम ख्याल रखते हैं कि salt कम खाना है, sugar नहीं खाना है, honey नहीं खाना है. So I understand, but I think post 1 year of age, when like medically the child is allowed to eat anything, as long as there's no allergy or anything, I think we should just not worry about these things when we go out, at least. कि जो मिलता है खा लो, because that will make them more adaptable to different situations. When they go to school, I look at everything from that perspective now.
Correct.
कि when I'm not around for 6 hours, are they going to be okay with their food? So if you want that, like if you want your child at 5 years to be a good eater, then don't focus too much on their food. भूख लगेगी खा लेंगे. बीच में phase आया था when they were very picky, when they were 2-3 years old, उस range में. And my husband told me कि नहीं खा रहे हैं, just give them a banana and it's okay, because they loved banana at that time.
Yes.
At least they're eating something, and it doesn't have to be a full-fledged meal every time. Because हमेशा हमें थोड़ी ना भूख लगती है. कभी हमारी भूख ज़्यादा होती है, कभी कम होती है.
We forget that they're also humans like us, and हमें लगता है कि अगर हमें कम भूख लगी है तो it's okay, but उनको कम कैसे लग सकती है? उनको तो खिलाना ही पड़ेगा, right?
पूरा दिन भागे खेले तो भूख कैसे नहीं लगी? But they have a body of their own. Their body will tell them when they are hungry. And I know as parents, मुझे भी लगता है कि नहीं आज थोड़ा अच्छा नहीं खाया, कम खाया. But I'm learning how to let that go.
So with your second child also it was the same? Like you did baby-led weaning, or like, of course she might have seen you guys.
Yeah, so she saw us and the older one. Yeah, so so I think observation is the most important thing. She saw her older sister, and even if we all can't sit together and have a meal as a family every time, at least the children are eating together. So that helps a lot.
Yeah, because I remember daycare में they used to say, oh, eat in this much, this portion. I used to be like, घर पे तो नहीं खाती है. And then they're like, नहीं यहाँ पे खाती है. So they're like, because they watch other kids eating. So that's how, they also like feel like eating. And I've noticed when she's with other friends of mine, like their kids, she eats better as compared to when she's just all alone with me and like I'm like trying to feed her.
They also understand कि जब मैं अकेली हूँ, parents ही है घर पे, तो थोड़ा सा और नखरे ज़्यादा बढ़ जाते हैं बच्चों के. When they are around other kids, it's like we going to a social event.
Correct.
Where people of our age group are there, then we'll automatically feel comfortable in doing things that they are doing. Same with them.
I think another mistake that I made was also like distracting her while making her eat. So when I noticed कि वो नहीं खा रही है तो मैं बहुत distract करती थी. ठीक है, of course screen time नहीं था because she was younger. So I used to like do books or like like activities or like अच्छा वो देखो क्या है, because that's what we've learned growing up. मतलब I remember my mom-in-law telling me कि my husband used to not eat and the helper used to be like वो देखो एरोप्लेन आ रहा है, and then मुंह में डाल दिया जल्दी से
या तो वो स्पून लेके ओ एरोप्लेन उड़ता उड़ता आ खा लो.
So and अभी तक उसको वो distraction चाहिए. So अभी भी like she's 3.5 and like she'll eat the first 4 bites herself, and then after that it has to either be a story, or we're solving some puzzle, or we're listening to a story on the audio box. So like I feel मतलब in a way it's okay क्योंकि screen नहीं देख रही है, मुझे उस बात का better लगता है, but then I still feel कि she's not associating with the meal.
Yeah. So that's where we'll touch upon this in the mindful eating part.
Yeah.
जो हम भी काफी screens के सामने बैठ के खुद ही खाते हैं. So it's hard for us to teach that to our children, but yeah, I think any habit that you want your child to inculcate, start early. It will be extra work for sure.
And start with you first.
Yeah, start with you because kids will observe you. And then when they grow up, my children now tell me, but you don't do this. Then why should we? Like I asked her, how was your day at school? And she's like, why do you ask us every day? You don't tell us how your day was at work. So I'm like, so they observe everything.
What I do now is when I pick her up from school, I'm like, Isna, I did this today. Isna, I had a very sad day, or like, today I was a little upset, or today I was very happy. And then she's like, mama, this happened. So like that reverse psychology is working for now.
Exactly. So it's just that they observe because they don't have any other role model to look up to, whom they think is a safe person. So they only look at the parents mostly.
Yeah.
One more point I want to add for a baby-led weaning is the choking hazard, which a lot of parents are concerned about. Jiske wajah se a lot of parents don't attempt baby-led weaning. Of course, there are choking hazards if you're not careful. Like if the child is not sitting upright without support, then it's not safe for them to.
Yeah, we should make sure that the head is like, stable before starting any solids.
एक और example है, one of my friends told me that she knew someone who had a kid. Kid might be like 4-5 years old, so not a toddler, but that kid ate a grape and something happened and it choked and she couldn't breathe, and before the parents could do anything, they were trying to pat her back and everything, but it was such a sudden reaction that within a few minutes she actually passed away.
Oh my god.
So उस story से
like
मुझे full grape, like normal sized जो भी full grape होता है. So since that time I'm like, she told me that now for her daughter she always cuts it in half, even if the child is a little older, like 5-6 years tak, I still cut it in half and give it to them, because why take that chance. Right? Like even if they can chew, sometimes they are talking and eating, तो वो chew नहीं हो पाता है properly. So those kind of things you have to be careful about. कि don't give full nuts, especially when they are very young, because again that's a choking hazard. Always cut it in half ताकि अगर swallow भी कर ले तो यहाँ पे ना अटक जाए.
Yeah, like it should be finger sized for baby-led weaning, right?
Yeah.
Like they can hold it completely in their hand.
Yeah.
It should not be like smaller than their hand, technically.
Yeah.
Correct.
So those things, of course, like parents can research on what's the safe way to do it, but I believe it has a lot of benefits.
I agree. For my second, I'm definitely doing baby-led weaning. Hoping for the best.
So now let's talk a little bit about mindful eating, because that's another concern that I saw when my kids started going to school and I had to make snack and lunch for them every day, because daycare में तो वहाँ मिलता था और जब घर पे थे तब तो it was much different and easier. But as they started going to school, they saw other kids bringing different foods. And not every parent is very mindful about the kind of food they give their child in the lunch. I understand कि parents को भी busy होते हैं, for sure, there's no doubt. लेकिन थोड़ा बहुत I think mindfulness बहुत ज़रूरी है.
I totally agree. Like, I remember a friend and she had not introduced sugar, and that time I was not a parent, तो मुझे लगता था कि ठीक है 1 year तक तो वैसे ही नहीं करना चाहिए, but her kids did not eat sugar until I think they were 3 or 4. So she used to make the cake for them at home without sugar, whatever. But when the kids used to go for another birthday parties, they were still not allowed to eat that cake. So that I felt was like quite a bit. I'm like, at least औरों के birthday पे तो खाने दो, And like when people are getting cakes for them for their birthday, they used to cut it and not eat their own cake. So I was like, no, okay, that is a bit too much. ठीक है, like sugar is not good. but there should be a balance, I feel.
100%, because no one is perfect. चाहे जो सबसे बड़ा fitness freak भी हो, they are not always perfect, and we can't be. We have other things in life to do. But at the same time, like 3-4 years you said, I feel that's stretching it a bit, because we live in a time where they will meet other kids. There's a lot of packaged food out there. Try and limit it, or try and bring stuff that is a little less harmful. Like good brands, don't buy like super cheap stuff. Those things we can do. But जैसे मैं करती हूँ, when if they ask for cereal, like they love to eat cereal, I try to bring the ones that don't have sugar coating on them. But फिर भी दूसरे cereals में भी, like Raisin Bran for example, it will have a little bit of sugar obviously. But before I give them the cereal, I'll tell them to eat like an egg. Or something a little healthy, you know, so like a fruit or something, so that they are not just eating on that, and they know if I want to eat cereal, I have to eat my egg first. So those kind of things I think you can do.
That's a good tip.
I'm not completely like depriving them of eating the packaged food, but at the same time I'm telling them and teaching them that you should eat healthy. उसके बाद तुम as a dessert तुम थोड़ा खा लो ऊपर से, और हम भी वही करते हैं घर पे. So again, the point comes back to that. You have to practice it yourself.
So like there are a few things, like you say with me, it's like I do give her that cheese, वो जो baby bell वाली चीज होती है. I've never really read about it कि अच्छा है कि नहीं है. I know people are giving it, so I give it. Then one is that yogurt that comes in the sachet.
That they have to like kind of suck and eat.
So sometimes when I'm in Costco, I'll just get like the full, either those bottles or like wo. Fir kabhi like when I'm like picking her up from school, I just give it to her as a treat then. So like I'm not saying I try not to give her anything at all, but I try to balance it. So especially after picking her up from school, she has this thing, like she'll look at me and she'll like, what special thing you have for me? And I'm like, every food is special, but for her only sweet is special. So and I'm like always wondering कि मैं क्या दूँ, you know, ऐसा sweet कि उसको अच्छा भी लगे, and which is at the same time a little healthy. So do you have any recommendations?
I have a lot. Maybe we can do like talk about it in another video, but like Insta Reels, man, like so many recipes. And I save all of them in one recipe folder. But so many laddus and all that you can make at home.
Like pancakes I've tried, so she loves that. Ragi pancakes.
Ragi pancakes, yes.
Like that is one thing that I absolutely love. There's this brand called Slurp Farm in India. Yahan nahi milta, but like whenever anybody's traveling, I like ask them to get it in bulk. So they have like everything made out of millet, oats, and everything, and even the sugar quantity is much less because it's made of jaggery powder. So every Sunday that's her meal. She knows that she gets that pancake. And sometimes when I am like picking her up and I know that okay, no, she would want something sweet and मेरे को अभी कुछ भी package नहीं देना है, so then I take that for her. Otherwise I try to give her like a protein bar. She doesn't really like protein bars much, but I found this brand called Kashi, तो उसका
but are they like safe for kids?
Yeah, like she eats it like a biscuit. It's completely like I've been giving her for the past 1 week now. She's enjoying it.
मैंने 2-3 recipes देखी थी जहाँ पे you can like get all the different ingredients like granola, different nuts and seeds and all, and it's very easy. And you can just like bake the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
And then cut it into those small bars kind of a thing. मैंने कभी try नहीं किया, and my husband keeps on saying you always save but you hardly make. So now that's my mission कि if I want to give them treats, I want to do it in a way where it's not too much work for me also, and at the same time
I think
it's
that
healthy.
is the main reason that बहुत लोग नहीं कर पाते, because नहीं होता है time, right? Like they don't want to come back from work and then again plan like कि अब snack पे भी क्या दे, अब ये भी क्या दे. That's why people like just open up and like give stuff, which I'm not against, but I think there should be a limit.
Exactly. Because हम सब खाते हैं बाहर का या packaged food, but एक limit होती है ना कि हम बैठ के पूरा chips का packet तो नहीं खा सकते. That's like in no book is that healthy ever, and that is an addiction after a point. So and my kids had fallen into that addiction thing in between when we were traveling and this and that, and now it was like I'm trying to bring them back on track, but it's just that planning and you doing it yourself first, and making sure that you introduce it as a treat, which is once in a while. Treats can't be every day. So I always tell them ki ट्रीट हर रोज नहीं होती, हमें कहाँ हर रोज ट्रीट मिलती थी, जब भी किसी का बर्थडे था या कोई इवेंट था तभी हम ट्रीट्स खाते थे. So treat it like that.
Yeah.
And then you can balance it out, of course. So
correct. So with Isna now, it's been like, when can I have a chocolate? It's like you'll get it on Saturday only.
yeah.
So now she knows she waits until Saturday to get that chocolate, whatever it is, whether it's like the Kinder one or whatever. And I've noticed कि अगर मैं ले भी लूँगी, after 2 bites she'll be done, because she's not used to eating so much sweet. So after 2-3 bites she'll be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
But like when we're out like for vacation, then I'm not really bothered. I'm like, ठीक है, ये 1 महीना है, खा रही है जैसे कर रही है, and उसके बाद I'm going to like again go back to the routine. So vacation time I've learned is like, okay, doesn't matter that much, because कितना ही खा लेगी, like she won't be like eating 4-5 ice creams. I'll give her one ice cream, वो भी पूरा नहीं खत्म कर सकती. Even though she'll be like गल्पेंगे इतनी तेज, like खाना तो इतनी जल्दी नहीं खाती, but ice cream तो
but पेट इतना ही है तो फिर वो उतने में ही खत्म हो जाएगा.
Yeah.
And another tip is that teaching them about, whenever you feeding them or like whatever food it is, just telling them like playfully, I play this game कि इस food में क्या है, like chicken has protein, egg has protein, rice has carbs, and not labeling it as good or bad, but just making them aware कि what nutrition is in what food, so that they know that, you know, these हमें किसी ने सिखाया नहीं था उस टाइम पे, ये था ही नहीं. But I think because there are so many options now, and unhealthy ones more so, it's just a good idea of introducing these things. स्कूल में तो सिखाते हैं नहीं ये सब. Nutrition is not a part of school curriculum at all, which I hope changes now all over the world. But yeah, so I think these kind of things, you can just tell them कि ये unhealthy है, ये healthy है, the choice is yours. And when you do that, they feel more responsible also कि okay, I'll eat the unhealthy one, but I'll also balance it out with the healthy one, which happens when they grow up, I feel.
Yeah. No, but talking about the picky thing that you were saying, that, you know, there comes a phase where most kids are picky while eating. So I had a friend who was saying that, you know, उसको रोज नगेट्स ही चाहिए. So I was like, okay, like ठीक है, अब वो ये ना कि हमने इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया nuggets. Sometimes we need to, like, even if we're introducing them, we need to make sure that they're not getting it often, so that they're not used to it, right? So but then मतलब my heart also goes out to parents जिनको लगता है कि अब यार कुछ नहीं खा रहे, एटलीस्ट नगेट तो खा रहे हैं, चिकन तो जा रहा है. But अब I don't know.
You know, honestly, like if you're a parent, I'm not saying I'm perfect or everyone has to be, but थोड़ा सा effort डालना चाहिए, because these habits that are built at a young age, they go all the way into adulthood and even later on in their old age.
Yeah.
And it starts early. So like balance, like we spoke about, right? कि थोड़ा सा effort डाल के introduce करो, थोड़ा सा mess होगा, थोड़ा सा रोएंगे, थोड़ा tantrum होगा, but I think it's better for them in the long run.
Yeah. No, I agree that. Oh God. वही खाने की बात आती है तो लगता है कि अच्छा ये कर लेंगे, वो कर लेंगे. I remember making like banana bread and like homemade cookies for her in between, and then she ate just like 4-5 bites, and उसके बाद वो पढ़ा ही रहा. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not a good cook, that's why.
But I'll send you a few reels,
ठीक है, yes,
which are very easy, like 4-5 ingredients, and they turn out good also. मैंने एक बार एक try किया था.
ठीक है, we'll just add all the links actually, all the links of the reels.
Yeah, we can. Good idea.
Right, and then it can be beneficial to all of us maybe, and then if you give it a try, do mention us as well, and the creator.
Tag us and the creator, of course.
Yes. But okay, yeah, that's a good option. But looking forward to all your nutrition videos also coming up soon.
Yeah, and I feel the most important thing is not beating yourself up for it, because I've noticed जब मैं भी बहुत health करती हूँ, मैं खुद burn out हो जाती हूँ. So that shouldn't be the case with parents, and then they feel यार छोड़ यार chips खा ले. But वो पूरा concept ही उसमें वो हो जाता है. So just balance it, and when you can't do it, it's okay. Just don't make it a habit.
Habit नहीं होना चाहिए. मतलब ये नहीं चाहिए कि बच्चा रोज आपको देख रहा है चिप्स खाते हुए, या अपने ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स को, या whoever's in the house. I think that is not okay for me. So I try my best कि I tell my in-laws also कि यार if you guys are eating, just be it in the other room or something. I don't want her to be exposed to it every day. Parties में चलता है, वो उठा भी लेती है, मैं कुछ भी नहीं बोलती.
हाँ, और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि ये खाना है ना, next week हम party में जा रहे हैं तब खाना. तो they also look forward to it. Like tonight we have friends coming over, and we don't give them any juice or any other drink, but my husband was like थोड़ा सा सोडा दे देंगे, the Sprite वाला एक नया कोई सोडा आया है, because हमने भी पिया था बचपन में, थोड़ा सा एक ग्लास में दे देंगे with ice. I'm like, okay, only during the party, not an everyday thing.
Right.
So those kind of things just make it a little more exciting for them.
Yeah. Tell me about this Pride thing. I'm curious.
I will. Actually, किसी और ने हमें दिया था. We never buy such things, but it's a no sugar some drink. I'll let you know.
Okay.
So I hope you guys enjoyed today's topic and found any of the tips helpful. Please do share this with all your mom friends, family groups, everywhere, and give it a thumbs up if you actually enjoy our videos, because that gives us more motivation and inspiration to bring out better content for you.
And yes, don't think that you need to be perfect moms, because there's nothing as such.
It's a myth.
Yes, it's a myth. So jaise kar sakte ho karo, but try to balance it out.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Bye.